This lesson is going to show you how to use the technology to create lists in a calculator and calculate calculate the measures of center and the variability using the data in the calculator. So for a data set, I've chosen to move ahead onto page 97 in your textbook into activity 13.3, which shows you the heights of different trees in different forests, forest A and forest B. Entering the list in the calculator is fairly simple. All you need to do is go to Stat, and then Edit, which is option 1. And you're going to see a bunch of columns with the names List 1, List 2, List 3, and so on. I have pre-populated lists 1 and 2, so we can look at how more quickly how that data can show up in a calculator. If you want to clear a data set, just arrow up into the name. I'm arrowing up into list 1, and I hit clear. That will clear out all my data. I do not want to do that, but I will show you a very common error students make. Instead of hitting clear, they will hit delete, and now you notice that the whole column is gone. To correct that, you go back to Stat, choose Setup Editor, hit Enter, and then that will recall that column of data. Okay, now that the data sets are there, I want to compare list 1 and list 2. I need to go to my home screen, or from my home screen, I can choose Stat, arrow over to Calc. I'm going to calculate one variable statistics, choose Enter or choose 1. And now this says the list of data is coming from list 1. Hit Calculate, and there on the screen, we see that everything starts with the average. This is the mean. 44 and 8/10 is the average or the mean for that data set. Now, you'll learn later what these other symbols mean, but we jump down to small s, sigma, x. This is the standard deviation. Standard deviation is approximately 4 72/100. Number of trees, there are 40 pieces of data for 40 trees. If you continue to arrow down, you will see the complete 5-number summary, starting with minimum, Q1, median or Q2, Q3, and the maximum. From here, you can calculate the IQR, the interquartile range, 48 subtract 42, that would be 6. And if I wanted to, I can go back to my home screen, and I can do the same thing. I can calculate the 5-number summary and the statistics for my second list. So Stat, Calc, one variable statistics. Now, I don't want list 1, I want list 2. So notice the button number 2. Above it in blue is L2. This tells me that in order to recall my list number 2, I need to hit the second button first, and then the number 2. I hit Enter, and this tells me that the mean for list 2 for those trees in forest B is 46 and approximately 3/100. My standard deviation is approximately 7.87. The minimum height is 40. The maximum height is 70. And these last 5 numbers constitute my 5-number summary. To graph both 5-number summaries at the same time, it's just a couple more steps, starting with Stat Plot. Just plot both sets of data. I'm going to go to second Stat Plot. My plots are off. I'll turn them on one at a time. Choose Enter. I want to choose a box plot. That's the representation of a 5-number summary. I'll arrow down into Type, and then I arrow over to box plot. I hit Enter to choose it, and my list is coming from list 1. So the first box plot in blue will be list 1's data. Arrowing up into plot 2, I will turn it on. I will arrow down and scroll over to box plot as well. It's going to be in red, but I also want list 2, not list 1 again. So I'll be careful to make sure that I choose list 2, second 2. And then if I hit trace, I should see 2 box plots. Now I don't. Now what should I do? Well, I don't see the data, but I'm pretty sure the data is there. Because I go back to stat plot, I can see that both these plots are on. One's list 2, one's list 1. And I just need to zoom in to where my data is. So I will hit zoom. And notice I'm wanting to zoom into the statistics. Choose zoom, stat. And there we go. I have both my 5-number summaries plotted as box plots. If I want to find out what those values are at each point, I will choose trace. And then I can arrow back and forth between those values in list 1. I can arrow down and jump into list 2's data and see those values at the bottom of the screen. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, just message me in Canvas.